Now, I want to move on to issues of cancel culture. It's been ridiculous, some of the things that have been cancelled in the last couple of weeks. We've brought some of them to you previously, but I want to catch up with the latest developments with Bella de Brera from the Institute of Public Affairs. Good to talk to you again, Bella. Now, look, one of the benefits I've had from losing my hair, from going bald, is I don't have to go to the supermarket anymore and look at shampoo. You know, they said, do you want the shampoo for oily hair or dry hair or normal? And I used to always just go for normal. It seemed like the middle ground. Now, normal apparently is banned. It's too upsetting to everybody else to call anything normal. I mean, this is insane.
This is insane, and, you know, it's very unfashionable to be normal now. Everyone has to be different, which obviously is philosophically problematic, because if everyone's different, it just creates total chaos. But this is just getting completely out of hand. You know, every week there's something else that's cancelled. We've had Dr. Seuss last week. We had Coon Cheese a few months ago. We have had Pepe Le Pew, an amorous French skunk, which is a cartoon, a figment of someone's imagination that's now offending someone. We'll come to Pepe Le Pew.
We'll come to Pepe in a moment. Yeah. Let me just show you. Let me show our viewers Unilever, the big sort of beauty and bathroom products company and cleaning products that has decided to get rid of normal, and they've gone with a very woke advertising campaign to show us their virtue, I suppose. Have a look.
It's normal to be told what beautiful looks like. But is it normal? We say no. We won't accept a world where any of this is normal. So we're removing the word from our products and advertising.
Yeah, Bella, there you go. That's the end of normal. I mean, as you were saying, we're just going to have to drop all descriptors now.
Yes, you can't, and I think it's a strange decision by Unilever, isn't it? Really, I don't want to say go woke, but go broke, but it's just hard to avoid that term when you think about the marketing department at Unilever sitting around saying, let's just alienate about 80 or 90% of our customer base and not give them a label that they need when they go to the supermarket. It's just. Ideology is just getting in the way of everything here, and I think you remember that Gillette ad where they sort of had to backtrack because they started losing huge sales when they basically made out that all men were potential rapists. I wonder if the same thing's going to happen with Unilever, and they'll suddenly find that people aren't buying their products.
Well, I hope so.
I hope so too, but it's just as I said earlier, every week there's something else, and it's just getting to a point where it's almost impossible to keep up with what's on the cancelled list.
It sure is. Now, you mentioned Pepe Le Pew earlier. Now, Pepe Le Pew is, a sex pest. He's a love rat. That's the whole joke. He's a skunk, and he's in love with a cat, or he's in lust with a cat that's actually got a white bit of paint down the back, so he thinks it's a skunk. And the whole joke is that he's a shocker for people younger than me. Here's a reminder of what Pepe Le Pew's all about.
All right, chérie. The courtship is over. Oh, the adoration. Oh, the je vous adore. And the je t'aime à vous.
Oh, right. OK, so how do we find this offensive? He's a French-speaking skunk. I think we know that's make-believe. It's a cat looking like a skunk. It's a cartoon. Can we move on?
I know. I remember watching it as a child and thinking, this is a ridiculous character. He's a loser. I realised that when I was about 6. And it's what is it about society now where people are really looking for offence where there is none? I mean, they're so desperate to be offended that they'll go to a cartoon and make a crazy connection between an animated character, a French skunk who speaks with a very strong French accent. So I actually could be offended if I was a French person by the way that he's depicted. And then, saying that that's going to cause some kind of rape epidemic. It's just, we've just got to a point where these people can't differentiate between reality and fiction. And it's just, what are they going to cancel next? What's next? Do we cancel all cartoons because they could have the wrong connotations for children? I mean, we saw, as I mentioned, we had to cancel Dr. Seuss because they were saying that turns children into racists if the parents read them these stories. It's just a really sad indictment on where society has arrived at the moment.
We might have to ban all make-believe because we'll just recap a couple we've talked about before. Here's, of course, Dr. Hibbert from The Simpsons.
Oh, I can answer that. You see, whenever I pick up an x-ray, I always hold it like this. My thumb must have covered up the crayon every time.
That's Dr. Hibbert there. Now, he was banned because it's a white actor playing a black character. And then, of course, we also showed Mr. Potato Head.
Potato Heads, Mr. and Mrs. You gotta keep them together because they're madly in love.
Prepare to meet Mr. Angry Eyes.
Yeah, that's the end of Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head. And this is one of the more frightening examples in the end, isn't it, Bella? Because they're really trying to get rid of gender altogether. They don't want anybody to reference anybody else according to their sex or their gender titles.
No, I mean they're denying that there's a biological difference between men and women, and this is the ideology, and this is the what they're really trying to drive home, and they're trying to drive home that to children, this idea that gender is a social construct, and of course it's completely out of step with what most people understand and know to be true, which is that there is a difference between men and women. And you know, this is a potato head toy that you stick faces and ears on, and it's just letting children use their imagination. It's stop politicizing toys and stop politicizing children. I think this is one of the most dangerous things that we need to be talking about.
All right, to go on to the issue of the week, I suppose, and the big royal interview and these really flimsy attacks on the royals for being racist. I want to get your thoughts on that. First up, let's have a listen to very brief comments today from Prince William rejecting the suggestions put into play by his brother.
Have you spoken to your brother since the interview?
No, I haven't spoken yet, but I will do.
And can you just let me know, is the royal family a racist family, sir?
No, we're very much not a racist family.
Yeah, Bella, I go into this in some detail in Kenny on Media tonight too. There are some commentators saying, of course they're racist. The whole royal family, the whole monarchy is based on racism. How do you deal with this?
Well, as you say, they're flimsy accusations, but they have really serious connotations. So what I see here and what I think is going on, this is just my opinion, is that Meghan has bought into this crazy postmodernist idea that all Western civilization's institutions, including the monarchy, are fundamentally racist, and that they're fundamentally there to oppress minorities and women. So therefore, the monarchy, the rule of law, the equality before the law, all have to be torn down because they're oppressing minorities and women. So Meghan is just using this this postmodernist colonial theory, and you know, she's basically got the Queen in her sights. She wants to cancel the Queen of England. She wants to cancel the monarchy. I think using cancel culture is actually wrong in this case. It's a revolution. It's a woke revolution, and Meghan is the Queen of woke.
Meghan might be able to do what my Irish forebears were never able to do, you reckon, get rid of the British monarchy. Before I let you go, Bella, speaking of woke issues, and people are into some of this trendy virtue signalling, Mark Scott, who was the head of the ABC and then went in to head up education in New South Wales, he's now going to be Vice-Chancellor at Sydney University. You wouldn't expect him to get on top of the very real issues in this area that they need to address at that university?
I'd be very surprised. I mean, they're all. Everyone who does a humanities degree goes straight into the ABC. So they're just, you know, it's just going to be feeding. They're going to be feeding each other the same identity politics, critical race theory, skewed version of Australian history, everything that we've come to expect from both the ABC and our universities.
Thanks for joining us, Bella. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Always the voice of reason is Bella de Brera.